Take that. Yeah, that's what I thought. What? I don't think so. Yo, what up? So, like, World of Warcraft, best game ever. Okay, I've been playing this since, like, the womb. Alright? Grandfather, Warcraft 1. Father, Warcraft 2. Brother, Warcraft 3. Me, World of Warcraft. It's like we got our own affiliation going on over here.
Are you coming to the meeting? You have to come to this meeting. Do you have any idea what the World of Warcraft does? Hello? Binarism? It divides people into two. The characters are divided into two different categories, good and evil, humans and orcs. Do you know that the orcs actually came from a peaceful society before they came into the World of Warcraft? And now that they're in the World of Warcraft, they're completely discriminated against and demonized. This binary thinking is the root of all racism.
The advancement of maps and other navigational guides, there has been a great diaspora from the Alliance coming over and taking over the Horde's land and in a forceful manner pushing them down and making them do certain slave work and also leaving their homes and basically just taking over the entire continent.
Well, the basic concept of World of Warcraft, we wanted to take away from the simple one or the other that we had in the original Warcraft games. We set up it so it wasn't like Horde would come in and take over, Alliance would come in and take over. We wanted to set up like an actual world. So it was sort of like the globalization, if you will, of the Warcraft games. Now it's all centered around these two continents, and the Alliance will have a couple of cities on one continent and then one city on the other, and then the vice versa for the Horde. So it's like they each have their city centers where there's all these trade and economic activity, and that's where people meet and interact, and then it's not just like one place for them. Like they go all the way across the world, and it's the same way for both sides. So it's quite an amazing phenomenon, I'd say.
Yo, what's mad cool about this game is like Azeroth has been the same since like 70,000 years. It's like mad authentic and shit, alright?
The only reason the Horde is depicted as bad is because the Alliance is depicted as good, and this othering is a form of racism. Don't you see? This game has racism, racism, racism written all over it.
The second most interesting race in the World of Warcraft would probably be the gnomes. The gnomes, they're really small, they're kind of cute, they love robots and other mechanical things, and they live underground, and, well, recently their city was overrun, and now they kind of have no place to go. Pretty much they're kind of holed up with the dwarves at this point, and their entire society is in this weird state of liminality. They really have nowhere to go, they're stuck between the dreams of the past and hope for the future. Who knows what the future's going to be for gnomes, but I hope it's a good one.
The new virtual world is made up of two continents. It is the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor. To understand the World of Warcraft, one must first look at the maps, and then we can decide who has the power. When we look at the Eastern Kingdoms, we see a great civilization with major cities running through it. When we go over to Kalimdor, we start seeing only 2 or 3 cities that are sparse from each other, and they tend to look uncivilized because of this. When someone reads this map, they'll tend to get certain assumptions and certain stereotypes from these two continents. One will tend to think that Kalimdor is full of savages and cannibals and typically people that cannot be civilized or can grow in culture.
Do you know that the zombies have a racial ability called cannibalism? Racism is completely just built into the game. They're depicted as cannibals.
There is that problem though of hegemony, whereas since we set up a class system between, I mean everybody can be the same class of any race and on any side, Alliance or Horde, and it's not going to define who you are like societal level. I mean, some people might prefer it or whatever. Where that really comes into play is with the character level. Whereas, the characters with more experience, more battle experience, quest experience will reach higher levels, and they'll be esteemed as the guys to look up to, and as the aspirations, and they can use their power to kind of, and their experience to dominate over the other characters. And a lot of people get really upset about that.
Yeah. You know what's mad cool about this, okay? Is like this world, you gotta be born into your class. But in World of Warcraft, you get to pick it. You could be a druid, you could be a warlock, you could be a priest, alright? That's what's mad cool about it, because some are better, some are not, but it's your choice, alright? Oh shit, hold on, someone's coming after me.
No, it's not the same thing. I mean, the ethnicities, they're all different, but we never gave one more power than the other. We never gave one class more power than the other. They're just different, and they have different abilities, and not one specific character, one specific race is going to be able to always dominate over another. They're just different. That's all.
The Alliance also uses maps to have a surveillance on the colonized. Usually what would happen is the surveillance will come from within, and it'll be in a way, and maps are usually a way of this. Usually the colonized people will tend to look at the map and see themselves as insufficient and powerless, especially compared to the Eastern Kingdoms in the Alliance. The cartography clearly shows that the Eastern Kingdoms are a civilization that is full of culture, whereas the Hordes are shown as being cannibals and savages that are not really civilized.
For many thousands of years, the Trolls were alone in both Kalimdor and the Eastern Kingdoms, and they had set up this wonderful little indigenous empire, and then all of a sudden the Night Elves showed up, and no one really knew where the Night Elves came from. There was a lot of speculation that there was some sort of catalysis between the Trolls and some other unknown species that led to the Night Elf population, but no substantiated facts were ever proven, of course, and if you ask a Night Elf now if they were evolved from Trolls in any way, they consider it a grave insult. But what ended up happening was sort of a de facto colonialism, because the more and more time progressed, the more and more Night Elves there were, and the more the Night Elves completely took over, decimated, and enslaved the Troll Empire. And now, the Trolls don't even have a single city in either continent to call their own.
We need to recognize these orcs as individuals. We cannot essentialize them. Just because the humans think that the orcs are bad doesn't mean they're all bad. This is completely racist.
The maps are also used to help the Alliance with their exploration and travels. This is one of the reasons why the Eastern Kingdoms are a great and powerful civilization. They're very technical savvy with their navigational aids and maps, and they use them on their travels to Kalimdor. And it's not just on the coast, it's actually into the cities.
Yeah, what I don't get is that every time that I gotta play this game, I gotta be a guy, because you know what? I'm a fighter, okay? I got generations backing that up. But because every time I try to be a girl, it's like they have to do spells and they gotta heal the people. They can't fight, alright? You only gotta be a guy to fight. You know what? That is BS, okay? I need to bring some feminism back to this game, because you know what? Girls are just as good to blow some guy's head off. That's what it needs to be. Word.
The real hegemony system is with players of higher level experience, but on the turnaround they did earn it. I mean, that's what the game is based on, is leveling up with experience and doing quests and getting into battles and duels. So, but again, emphasize, it's not based on your ethnicity. It's not one race is better than the other in this game. They all just have different abilities, and in the class system it's the same thing. I mean, not all races can be all classes, but certain classes just work in certain ways.